Hello, world. Hello, world. How you guys doing? Welcome to Featured Entrepreneur Friday. And I'm excited because we have a very special guest on today. She is an amazing author, amazing playwright. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the very own, she's the VP of Buying Black Back, Miss Diana N Patterson. Are you there?
I am here and honored to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Diana, just do everybody a favor and just kind of give everybody a small summary of who you are and what you do.
Oh, my. Is there enough time? So, okay. My name is Diana Patterson, and I am an author. I'm a playwright, a stage and film producer and director. I'm a life coach and personal development consultant. I'm a child advocate. I'm also the vice president of Buying Black Back, which I'm very proud of. And I'm also an educator, so there's actually a million things that I do, but those are just a few.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's enough to get us started with a foundation. Great segue into my first question, which is, could you tell us, Diana, what was your key driving force to actually becoming an author?
Oh, my goodness. You know, one of the things I've learned in life is that adversity comes with it. It's part of our experience. It's part of our journey. And often people lose sight of their purpose when they're going through that storm, when they're facing adversity, or as my book says, facing the valley. They feel like they become their experience versus who they are, their character, and what makes them and shapes them into the human beings that they are and the purpose that God designed for their life. I went through that, and I learned from that, and I took that experience, and I said, I need to share with the world what I experienced, because so many get lost in that abyss of darkness because they validate themselves based on their experiences than their character. And so I wanted to share my story with others to show them that not only is there purpose in those moments where they really can immerse themselves into truly who they are, designed and shaped to be, and their full divine purpose comes from those moments of darkness, those moments of brokenness, but also that you don't want to ever validate yourself by your experiences. Those are something that God allows to happen to us, to reframe and reshape us into greatness. We need to go through those things to get where we're supposed to get. They're supposed to happen, and I believe they're destined into our life to consecrate us to a higher level of greatness.
Absolutely. And you know, you said something, you said some really key words there. One of them, when you use the word adversity and, you know, evolve, you know, I think about one of my quotes, just like the butterfly, adversity is necessary to build character in people. So that is truly amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the title of your book. How did you come up with the name of your book?
You know, I get that question all the time, and I love answering it. I never get tired of answering that question. My very first experience going on a cruise, I had never seen, I'm going to admit, I was 46 years old when I went on my first cruise, and I had never experienced a mountain before. I had never visually seen a mountain in person.
Wow.
And the roommate, the young lady I was sharing the cabin with on the cruise, she was privy to the fact that I had never witnessed a mountain. And she was screaming that morning when we went up to Victoria, British Columbia, was where we ported that morning. And as we were coming into the canal, where the ship ported, there was a mountain right there. And she's just screaming at the top of her lungs for me to come out and look at this mountain. And listen, I went out on Dr. Pitts. I went on that balcony, and I mean the tears just flowed. First of all, I just want everybody to experience a mountain once in their life. The majesty of it is just, there's no words for it. And I literally was crying, and I was looking at it, and it was beautiful. But you know what I did first, because of course the mountaintop gets all the glory. So I'm looking up at the mountaintop, and I'm looking up there, and maybe I'm a different type of person here, but I'm looking up there, and I'm like, well, shoot, it's cold. There ain't nobody up there. It's low. I'm like, what? I'm like, why did the mountaintop get all the glory? But right in front of me was the valley. And what I saw in the valley was life, streams, birds, foliage. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. And I looked at it, and immediately I correlated that with life's experiences. Like, we want to go up to that. We want to get to the mountaintop, right? We do. But we don't embrace the journey that got us there. And you have to go through that valley. And there's beauty in the valley. What I saw was beauty, and I correlated that with our journey. If we could just embrace those challenges, those adversities, God didn't allow those things to hurt us. They're to help us get to where we need to get. So you can't, the valley was the base of that mountain. Everything that made that mountain great started in that valley. So that's kind of where that title came from. I just said, you know what? Everything grows in the valley. Everything grows.
Wow. I love that. Now, that is something to replay over and over again. I love that.
And I love telling it over and over again.
I see why. I definitely see why. So tell us, Diana, the next question I have for you is, how do you pretty much generate new ideas when it comes to writing scripts or even writing your next book? What do you have to go through in regards to, how you generate those new ideas?
What I tell people that ask me that question is, life always offers you creativity. Life itself is creative. So literally it's every experience. It's things that I see, things I experience. Sometimes it's a song. I literally wrote a whole play based on a gospel song that I heard one day. It touched me so deeply that I literally wrote a whole play around this song. So there's experiences that happen to you that inspire you. And if you're really open, that's why there's a difference between living and existing. And if you're existing, you're going to miss it. So you really have to be open and live your life and lean into the pain. A lot of times people, when they're going through adversity and different experiences, they want to numb themselves and, they get into those dysfunctional behavior patterns like drinking, maybe substance abuse, different things like that. But even through those experiences, you can still come out amazingly divine and great. So for me, it's every aspect of my life that inspires me. Everything. Yeah. It could be the smallest thing. Sometimes it could be something as simple as how I wake up in the morning and hear the birds chirping or how the sun sets. I mean, literally everything that I experience is an inspiration.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So tell us, Diana, with your great choice of words and how you're delivering and answering these questions, the audience definitely wants to know what motivates you. So what motivates you to do what you do?
I'm gonna say this. First of all, I give glory to God for everything. He is my inspiration behind every aspect of my life first. But my why is my family, my children, my daughters, and my grandchildren. Literally everything that I aspire to do in life, my grind, why I work so hard, why I never give up, which is really one of the driving messages of my book, is never give up. I don't care what it looks like. There's always darkness before the dawn, right? And so those are my true inspirations. It's God, never wanting to disappoint him because he's done so much for me. He's sacrificed so much for me. He's been so divinely gracious and merciful to me. There's no way in the world I could ever, and we can't repay God. But how we do it is we serve. We serve. And I just want to serve the world. And that's the other inspiration is I want to serve. I want to be the best version of myself so that I can do the work that I know I've been preordained to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Love it. So tell us, the listeners definitely want to know, what is your greatest fear and how do you manage fear?
I would almost give away some of the book, but let me just say this. One of my biggest fears in life is leaving this world without having completed my journey. And that, and now let me say this to kind of piggyback on that, is that was a previous fear, but now that I'm more in tune with God, I understand that when he calls us home, our work is done. Otherwise, he wouldn't have called us home. And some people, it's hard for some people to face that. I've had tragedies in my family. Cancer has taken several of my family members out way before I thought was their time. But I have learned that, you know, when I look at how myself, when I lost my mother, I was 21, she was 37 when she died of cancer. And back then, no one could have told me that there was some sort of purpose tied to that. And I'll admit that I don't know if I was necessarily angry with God, but I definitely questioned his plan. But what I'm learning is that, you know, there is a time and there's a place for everything. And God talks about that in his word. He talks about how there's a time for everything. So I think that was one of my fears. And I think my other fear is not living to my full potential, because there is so much that I want to do, and I don't want to be distracted by the day-to-day things that happen in life, because sometimes we get sidetracked because we're not focused. So that my other fear would just be not living up to my full potential, because I know God didn't give me these gifts to sit on them.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us, Diana, what piece of advice would you give college graduates who want to actually become an author? What would you tell them?
A college graduate that wants to become an author, I would advise them to journal, because that's what birthed my first book. When you journal, because the thing that's beautiful about journaling is that it's introspective. And a lot of times when you're going through something, you're too busy being in it to see it. And the beauty about journaling is introspect. You can go, you go back and you read where you were a year ago, and you're like, wow, not only did God get me through it, but look at me now. And then you begin to see that it was purpose, because you know you had to go through that to get where you are. So I would say journal and be very present in your life. You know, a lot of us, again, we're existing. We're not living. You need to be present. You need to really feel and see and taste and touch everything that is happening to you, because that is what births your book. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you guys to really understand what Diana is saying. She's giving you guys some amazing wisdom. I want you guys to really take notes, because someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. So
come on now.
Definitely appreciate you, Diana, with your words of wisdom. Could you please just tell us, next question I have is, if you had a chance to start your career over again, what would you do differently?
Not a thing. And let me tell you why I say that. One of my greatest lessons, and Dr. Pitts, I think, you know me being your vice president, you know my birthday is Sunday. I'll be 56. And one of my greatest lessons, one of my greatest life lessons, is there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. Everything has purpose. Everything.
That's it.
Absolutely everything. So you don't have regrets. Listen, there are no failures in life. Those are lessons. Embrace them. And the tragedy would only be if you don't take those lessons and evolve from those lessons. And sometimes it takes a little longer than others. Some of us have to go through it 4 or 5 times. Some of us only have to do once. Doesn't mean that you're wrong. It's just that's your experience. That's it. Just don't be hard on yourself. And forgive yourself. You know, I'll have to say that's something I had to teach myself. I didn't know I could forgive everyone else. I'm telling you, people could do me so wrong, Dr. Pitts, and I could forgive them. But I had a horrible time letting go of my own, and I don't use that word mistakes anymore, but those things that I experienced that didn't make me happy. I had a hard time moving on from that. I had to teach myself to self-forgive. So just don't be hard on yourself. Just embrace it and keep it moving. Keep it moving.
That's it. Listen, you never give up, because great things take time. So, yes, absolutely.
Yes, there you go. You and your quotes. I love your quotes, Dr. Pitts. You just what do? You just put them in your pocket and pull them out when they're necessary.
Well, they definitely call me the quote king. So
I'm telling you, because you got one for everything. I don't think you just pull them out, and just the way you pull them out, I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Next question, Diana, is what has been the most satisfying moment during your journey, from when you started to where you're at now? Because, ladies and gentlemen, when you see this amazing woman, and she told you her age, she does not look her age at all. You're easily going to say she's definitely in her 40s. You're probably going to ID her, but for sure, tell us, Ms. Patterson, what has been your most satisfying moment during your journey?
The two moments that were so surreal to me, like literally I'm tearing up now, I can't hardly talk about it, was my book launch. Because I'm not a transparent person to people I don't know. I'm extremely transparent to people that have gotten in, that are close to me. But so for me to write the book is literally a miracle because I'm very private. And to disclose those type of details of my life to the world, but I saw the higher purpose, that was one. And the other one was, Dr. Pitts, my play. When I walked out on that stage at the end, and we had a sold-out audience, and people in the audience were crying, and it was an affirmation for me because I refused to use my platform of film and stage production to do anything but empower and inspire the world. I believe that God gave me that purpose to make a difference. We've got enough filth on TV and on stage and even in music. I refuse to be consumed by that. And just that affirmation that I was truly walking in my purpose, that was it. Those two things I remember more. And then I have to throw one more in if I may. My mother thought I was brilliant. My mother thought I was brilliant when I was a little girl. And she always said I was going to grow up, and she thought I was going to be a doctor or have a doctorate degree, which I stopped short of that. I stopped at my master's. But my mother had passed away, and I just remember the day that I got my oh, goodness, all this crying. I'm supposed to be professional. Forgive me.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
The day I got my master's degree, and I walked across that stage, and I just felt my mom's presence, and I felt that she was so proud. And I knew my daughters were so proud of me that day. They all cried, everybody. And my daddy was there, my brother. So I think it was those three moments, because when you're really going through and you're pushing through that type of adversity, and again, you'd have to read my book to understand, that was no easy journey for me. I almost felt like anything that Satan could throw at me, he did, but I pushed through by faith. It was my faith in God and knowing that he didn't allow those things just to hurt me. Just knowing that whatever was happening to me was a place coming from a place that God loved me, and that assurance that he was with me through it. That's those three moments right there, because like I said, you'd have to know my story. You would just have to know. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. So, Miss Diana, tell us now, only got a few more questions for you.
Okay.
Tell me, what books would you, that inspired you to even kind of say, hey, I think I want to write my own, and what books would you recommend our listeners besides yours, right? I want you to
right.
Definitely everybody want everybody to go pick up Ms. Diana Patterson's copy, Everything Grows in the Valley. I actually have read the book. I'm actually reading it again. This is my second time reading the book, but it is 100% a great read. It's definitely going to sell over 50,000 copies. I'm excited about this book within itself, so definitely make sure you guys go and pick up the book. But Ms. Patterson, would you tell us what books inspired you in the course of your journey, and what books would you recommend the listeners to actually go and get, including Everything Grows in the Valley?
Okay, well, I can tell you that because I spent much of my adult life in undergraduate and graduate school, much of my literature reading was academic-based. I didn't get to do a lot of leisure reading, but the book that really, I can tell you, inspired me to tell my story was Eat, Pray, Love. Eat, Pray, Love, because that was, her journey is so, I felt like me and the writer were soulmates. Like, I related to everything that she wrote in that book. And I always said at some point in life I want to do that. I want to take off and go on a hiatus for a few months and visit, different countries and just live there for a while, because it was such a beautiful journey and how she was able to evolve through everything she had gone through. She had suffered a lot of loss, and she just just her story itself. So I definitely can say Eat, Pray, Love was my inspiration in terms of books I read. The books that I'm reading now that I highly recommend, and I'm glad, I have them right here by my bed because I refer back to them often. There are three that really stand out for me, and one is Dr. Brene Brown, Daring Greatly. It's a beautiful book. So that's by Dr. Brene Brown. And The Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery, the subtitle is Ancient Wisdom for Transforming Pain, and that's by Jojo Pa Maria Sonorma. I actually know her, and I was honored and privileged to meet her in Wisconsin, and she is absolutely incredible. This book will change your life. And then another one that I'm actually reading now that is really touching me. It's a book called Absolute Surrender by Andrew Murray, and it's a book about surrendering it all to God, because we say that, but we don't do it. And and this book will break you off, because I used to think I surrendered, and I learned through this, but I didn't surrender nothing. I failed miserably in that area. So I definitely recommend that book for everyone, especially if you're struggling in some area of your life and you're trying to reach a higher level of consecration. Sometimes we're holding on to something God wants us to let go of. And I just believe God has those things that he wants to give us. Sometimes we're in our own way. And this book will help you get out of your way.
Absolutely.
And there's many more, but those are my three favorites right now.
Absolutely. Well, those are
can I
really
give
good
one
books.
More? Can I give one more?
Absolutely.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
You know that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Now that one
that
I
book
know.
will change your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, all of the books you really named remind me of another one of my quotes. It's more so like, when you combine all of those, it's like life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. And those books have balance to them, where they can keep you on the straight and narrow path.
Yeah. See, I told you. There you go with the quote again. Got one. You don't have to teach me that. I'm your VP. I'm supposed to know these things. You got to teach me that.
Absolutely. So 2 more questions, Ms. Patterson.
Okay.
The next question is, who has been your greatest inspiration?
Wow. I want to say this because I have to. One of the greatest books I ever read was Jesus CEO.
Absolutely.
Which talks about leadership. And I can say that Christ, his character, who he was as a human being and as a divine being, is definitely one of my greatest inspirations. Dr. Pitts, if you don't mind, I'd like to say you are one of my inspirations.
Wow.
I'm in awe of you. Like, I don't know how you do it. I don't even know if I want to know how you do it, to be perfectly honest, because there's something very superhuman about what you do, but you still manage to balance it all and keep it all going. But I want to say this. This is my daughters inspire me. Because they in those moments where I feel like sometimes I'm falling short, I look at them and I know I did something right because they're all amazing, all 4 of them.
Yeah,
they're absolutely amazing. And so, and they tell me all the time, and I guess the humility in me can't embrace it all the time that, wow, I guess, me and their dad, we did that. But my daughters have definitely been because they keep me going. In those moments, when we say never give up, that's what you do. You have to look at your why. What inspires you? Why are you working so hard? And that keeps you going. So I think those are my, it's never been like a celebrity or anyone for me because when I look at them, I know they're underneath all that, they're still human. They're still human beings. And so I give credit to those who I see that I just know are ordinary people like your story, Dr. Pitts. You started off as a very ordinary person, and look at you. Just look at you. So, and there's more, but those are 3 that I can think of right off the top of my head. And I need to throw this in my daddy, because I'm a daddy's girl. My daddy inspires me. Yeah. Sorry, I had to throw him in. I could not say that about my daddy.
Hey, come on now. That's it. Listen, that's extremely important, and I think that with you continuously driving the way that you do, like when you say you walked out there on that stage, one of the things I always say is be so good they can't ignore you, and that's what you have to keep striving and driving for. You be so good that they cannot ignore you. Last question. This is just a random throw-off question. If you had a magic stick, which are the 3 things you would change in the world?
There would be no more homelessness.
Love it.
There would be no more child abuse.
Love it.
And everyone would understand the importance of serving humanity.
Yep.
That's it.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Ms. Patterson, we just want to say thank you for your time, for giving us the opportunity to experience your world just for a little bit. We definitely appreciate you. So please tell all of the listeners now, how can they stay in contact with Diana Patterson, the great author, the great writer? Just tell everybody how they can stay connected with you and how they can reach you, how they can get your book. Please just give us all the information that you can with how we can get in contact with you.
All right. So I'm so not good on my social media, so don't laugh. I'm going to have to really literally pull them up. You can find me on Facebook, though, at DNP Life Consulting and Management. Also on Facebook, DNP Life Consulting. My Instagram is at A Few Good Men 2019. Or Grows in the Valley. That is Instagram. I have no idea what my Twitter is. I'm never on there, so I'm just leaving. They'll go in there and there'll be like maybe 3 tweets. Also, I have a website, dnplife.com, and that's Diana Nita Patterson, dnplife.com is my website. And my book is available on Amazon.com and Kindle or paperback. However, I want all my supporters to buy it on buyingblackback.com, which is the landing page, which will reroute you to Amazon.com. So you're still going to get the book on Amazon. So if you Amazon Prime, don't worry, you're going to get your free shipping. But I would like you to start on buyingblackback.com because a portion of the proceeds of my book goes to redeveloping our communities, and we need all the redevelopment we can get. So this is a beautiful way to have purpose and do something amazing while still getting the merchandise that you want. So I would prefer, again, if you buy, but if you want a signed copy of my book, and most people do, you have to buy that for me personally, and you can do that at paypal.me/DNPEGV, and that's DNP as in Diana Nita Patterson, EGV as in Everything Grows Valley. So again, that's paypal.me/DNPEGV, and $20 includes shipping and handling and a signed copy. And I think I covered everything. I'm not sure. I got too much going on, Dr. Pitt.
No, you did amazing. Listen, you guys, we just want to say thank you again, Ms. Patterson, for giving us your time yet once again. We appreciate you so much. Listen, you guys, not until you are lost do you begin to understand yourself. My name is Dr. Casual Pitts, and remember, dream it, believe it, build it, but most importantly, do it. And guess what? Make your passion your paycheck. My name is Dr. Casual Pitts, and I'll see you guys on next featured Entrepreneur Friday. Ms. Patterson, thank you again. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Peace.
Thank you.